Whoops. Wait a minute. Hang on a second. There we are. Hold on. We're doing a different thing this morning. There we are. It is Boogie with a little Wednesday morning caffeine. Dave Loban here with you. Randy Rhodes will be along momentarily, I believe. And as the marquee says today, it's news of the day plus whatever comes out of our mouths. Last night on Tuesday night, Uncensored, we just didn't talk about politics the entire show. I said to Jerry and everybody else that was coming on, you know, didn't feel like talking politics. I seem to recall maybe we did a little, but we didn't focus on it for that long. And every once in a while, you have to do that. Plus, Jerry and the gang, they're all playing with ivermectin horse paste, excuse me, in their ongoing desire to avoid COVID-19. And Jerry brought his blue tongue to the broadcast. The Met blue something, I forget. Daryl Rector knows the name of it, but Jerry came in and had just taken the dose, I guess, and his tongue was blue. And we talked about that as a possibility, I guess, that can happen. Or you can mix it a different way. And it's not blue. Randy Rhodes is with us, and we're going to both have our news monitors going this morning. I have one, and Randy has one, and we'll see if that works. So, good morning, Dr. Rhodes.
Dr. Rhodes. Wasn't sure I went to medical school. I know I used to play with. No, we'll say that. Yeah, we'll keep it clean. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah. I know I went to college to be a restaurant hotel manager, but never went to medical school. Now, I will say this, and this is one of the reasons why I didn't complete my second year because it was a 2-year program. And what happened was you had to maintain a job in the field of what your degree was, which was a hotel. So, I just happened to be working as a gourmet waiter at this one hotel in Lancaster County. So I had access to the kitchen and so forth. So some of the things I was supposed to watch out for and to do a report on was the dish room. How often did they change out the water? Was the water maintained at a certain temperature? Did they use soap? Did they do this? Did they do that? Blah, 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 blah. Which they did none of what the degree was calling for. The
health department violations.
And, the chef, how did he prepare his food? Well, our chef, who is a well-known chef, he would smoke while he would be working behind the grill. He would prepare like Armstrong was a international company. Always had their dinners there, and they always had prime rib. So the chef in the morning would start cooking off these huge sides of beef, cook them to a certain temperature, and then set them out on the table in the kitchen to sit there until it was time in the evening to heat up the meat and then serve it. So this meat was sitting out, exposed to the environment, partially cooked. So, yeah, I don't think that's very healthy. And there are other...
I'm not going to that restaurant.
Well,
the next trip to Lancaster County, I'm not going there.
The hotel eventually shut down. But there were other issues that the hotel was not following the law for. And here I am in college being taught this is the way you do it. But in the real world, all those nice thoughts are thrown out the window and they do whatever the hell they want. In fact, the inspectors were on the payroll and they would give the hotel a heads up. Hey, on such and such date, we're coming out to do an inspection. So all of a sudden, we're cleaning the house like it's hell on fire, to bring it up the specs. So when the guy came, it looked clean, and he left with an A on the report. But otherwise, none of that would have been done without the warning from the inspector that he was going to be coming out to do the inspection. So, after, I thought to myself, I'm paying all this damn money. Or actually, my dad's footing the bill. And I'm thinking to myself, and none of it is being done in the real world. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to stop. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. So I did eventually quit. And my father, who knew the reasons why, because then after that, that's when I joined the Air Force. And I'm not saying this is why my dad did what he did, but before I went off to basic training, my dad called me into his office at the house, and he said, "Close the door, son." So I closed the door. Oh shit, I'm in trouble. Something, right? And he pulled out this wad of paper. He said, "This is your student loan. I just paid it off in full for you. Do not tell your mother." So,
hey, did you call the store about the shirt that I?
No, I did. I tried finding the store, but the address you gave wasn't popping up on Google search.
All right, I'll find it for you.
It is what it is. I doubt they're going to ship a $5 shirt, but who knows? They might.
I don't know. They might.
And it's just I have when I worked for Comcast. Besides excellent benefits and a very nice paycheck, a couple of things they did that was very nice for employees, especially those who worked outside. They provided us with these very, very, very heavy insulated coats, hats, gloves, scarves, because part of the job description was knocking on doors. Knocking on doors.
Be outside.
Knocking on doors.
Well, this was not a heavy.
Yeah, right.
Shirt. This was more.
And then, of course, we had the dress shirts.
A thin polo.
But
that has a logo on it, and I thought of you.
Well, I appreciate that. Yes, I am living inside your head. Some of the things.
Okay, I don't know.
It's good. I want to live in it, right?
Most people want to live, and on that take, maybe we'll go.
Maybe want to get evicted, right? So in the world of today, we've been talking about the terrorists that Trump flew back to Venezuela, and I have been saying Yugoslavia. That was wrong. It's actually Venezuela, but for a judge, an American judge, to try and go against the president of the United States as far as his policies, I think is absolutely insane. Unfortunately, our Constitution has written into it that there are certain judges who can challenge a president's decision to do certain things.
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
One of the laws that Trump is trying to use was the Alien Terrorist Act or whatever, saying that these people are at war with us. Well, according to Judge Napolitano, whatever his name is on Newsmax, he was a federal judge. He said the only way that Trump can legally use that law is if we're at war with the country where these terrorists are coming from. He said, now, if Congress would declare war against a terrorist group, that is different. But he said it would be very hard for Congress to be convinced to declare war against a terrorist group as opposed to declare war against a country. So this judge was constitutionally, legally right to challenge the 17, whatever year it was, law that Trump's people were trying to use to deport these people. I just like the idea that even though these planes were not off the ground yet, Trump told the judge they were and that they could not be returned back. And then the somehow the judge got hold of the pilot and ordered him to return back. And the pilot said that he is in an area of airspace where he does not have to legally answer to him. So they went and they unloaded these 179, I guess it was 179 terrorists. And so now the judge is trying to get Trump to send planes back to Venezuela to bring these terrorists back to stand trial for their crimes. Well, you know damn well, right now, with the way our court system is, if they were to stand trial, I bet you a nickel to a dollar that they would be found innocent of the rapes, of the murders, and everything they did do.
But that's neither here nor there, because they entered illegally. Their criminal records weren't checked. They weren't vetted as to whether or not they had a legal right to be here. And as I've said before, Venezuela evidently told them, if you come back.
But the other thing, the thought with that, Dave, is that this judge said that these men, if you want to call them men, if they entered the country illegally, had to go before a judge who specifically has the court hearings about illegal entry into the country. So either way, this judge said they did not get their due rights in court. I'm sorry, their due rights ended when they first entered our country and when they raped and murdered our women and children.
Right. There's more into it than that, because supposedly what I heard is they did not go back to Venezuela. They went to El Salvador, to an El Salvadorian prison, where I guess the United States has contracted with El Salvador to hold them, and the United States is holding them. And whether or not that is true and whether or not that is legal seems to be the $1 million question. I guess Chief Justice John Roberts weighed in from the Supreme Court and said that the judge could not be impeached because basically he didn't do anything wrong. So you have that Mexican standoff of who believes who, and that's where I get very frustrated when thinking about these things and watching some of these things, that it doesn't seem like anybody knows what they're talking about, what they can do, what they can't do, other than the Democrats are angry and they.
I think this video here needs to be shared, Dave.
Okay. All right.
I'm holding on.
I saw that.
Just imagine all those men were in our country doing what they were doing, and that judge wants them back. I'm sorry.
Well, that's not why I said that it's not like we said. It's not, well, First of all, in order for the planes to land, even if they went to Venezuela, they have to have permission to land in Venezuela, and they wouldn't have left the United States until they had permission to land. But obviously, they didn't. They didn't go back to Venezuela. They went to El
I
Salvador.
wonder
and
what.
they had permission to land in El Salvador, and it appears, like I said, that the United States was paying for them to be in an El Salvador.
I wonder
prison,
what Trump did or said to the president of that country to take back those terrorists. Because first off, God, I hope they don't escape from that prison. I mean, it looked formidable. It looked like there's enough soldiers.
Yeah, it's a supermax prison.
Yeah, but the right amount of money and the right amount of hands, anything is possible. But can you imagine? Can you imagine first off, as a prison guard working there? First of all, no, there's no way in hell I'm working in that prison.
No,
because the last thing. Because the first and last thing on my mind is going to be, God, if I don't watch myself, I don't watch my back. If these guys, can make a knife out of a bar of soap or whatever. Wow. I'll tell you what, yeah. I hope those guards and those soldiers are paid extremely well to do that job.
Yeah. I didn't really look into it. I did watch the video.
So Elon Musk, let's talk about him. Okay. Elon Musk, his poor Teslas are being targeted across our nation because some assholes think that Elon Musk is the seed of Satan, and we need to burn his cars. What they're doing is not burning his cars; they are freaking burning the cars of individuals who listen to the left and say, you know what, you're right. My gas guzzler is. It is destroying our ozone layer. So I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to go out and spend $100,000 on a car that's all electric because that's the right thing to do. And the next thing I know is my car's on fire because some asshole doesn't like Elon Musk. You're not hurting Elon Musk. You're hurting the guy who bought the car.
They are. And I read a lady in Louisiana, I believe, is now facing 20 years in prison for throwing a Molotov cocktail and torching the Tesla. And like you just said, even if you go to the dealership and you torch a car that he has not sold yet, and he owns all the dealerships because you can only buy a Tesla from Tesla, I guess. You can't unless if you trade it in somewhere. I don't know what happens then, but apparently you can only buy a Tesla from a Tesla dealership. If you go to him, he's heavily insured at all those dealerships, and if you torch one, they're going to be replaced, and all you're doing is causing the price on the other ones to go up.
Yeah. So here's some video I'd like to share. All right.
Hold on. There you go.
And then I heard that. I kept hearing that. Here comes the fire department.
Mm-hmm. Should we call the fire department? That's a stupid ass question.
I'm gonna have to.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's stupid. I'm echoing. You can probably take it off. But
and that's happening across our nation, Yep. And here, Elon Musk, he didn't have to do this, but he sent up his rocket, and he brought back those two astronauts who've been stranded up there for 9 months. Mm-hmm. I saw the landing, spectacular, absolutely spectacular. But why aren't they attacking his rockets and burning up his rockets? Why aren't they attacking his landing? The
rockets are better protected, I'm sure.
Well, but you know what I'm saying.
The lots. But then I also read something that said supposedly the lady who was the commander for us, for the United States, I think has to go back. There's something wrong that she has to go back. Now, if I was Elon Musk, I would have just basically said, hey, I'll have Tesla limousine drop her at your office and you send her back up in your rocket. Or I'm going to charge you a hell of a lot of money to send you back in
I
mine.
didn't hear that. Maybe because they were up in space 9 months, and it's. I know their bone structure has to go through some type of change because of being weightless for that long.
But maybe they should have told him that before that, and knowing the kind of person that everybody wants to think he is, aside from the car lot that you can go throw Molotov cocktails at, maybe they should have taken that into consideration. I'm sure I don't know if his people on his end at SpaceX, I'm sure they know that same thing or have some kind of understanding before they sent it up. And hold on a minute. I'm going to give Geo Mega Man a minute to have me read his comment. You guys, the nuts that believe that there's no space station or Musk's space rescue, that it was AI studio movie set, they make us look bad. They do, Geo. They really do. And, I'm not questioning anymore, really, whether or not we have gone into space. Okay, I did make a sly comment the other day, and I have before, that maybe, something was done on a backlot, but I don't personally believe that. I believe that we have gone up into space. There's various different terminologies that explain space. One is you go up so high, and that's space. One is we can't go to space because there's I don't know what you call it, around the Earth that a rocket evidently can't pierce. And if you believe that, and the proof that is out there that supports that, well, then we couldn't have gone into space. If you're Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, technically, when he shot the first Blue Origin up into space, he didn't actually go into what is real dark space. He went up to that whatever and touched it, I guess, and decided was told that space. So I don't really know. I'm not going to get into the whether or not it's fake and it's backlot studio stuff tonight or today, because it's just, it really doesn't matter. People are going to believe whatever they're going to believe. And
I personally believe that no, we did get to the moon. As far as the one question about the flag waving, the flag's not waving. The flag was designed to have like curls in it, so it has the appearance of flying. So because obviously there's no atmosphere on the moon, so there's no wave, there's no air to make the flag move. So that's actually a flag designed to look like that. I do believe we made it to the moon. I do believe we walked on the moon. I do believe that our astronauts saw spacecraft hovering over the moon while they were there. I do believe they're being watched. And I do believe, and all the evidence is coming out about the various, alien creatures that have been paying us a visit in exchange for our bodies, and we get the technology they give us and so forth. I do believe that they are real. I mean, the Pentagon shows videos. The Congress have been talking about it, and they've been bringing people on and bring up the evidence of the aliens and the spacecraft and the bodies that we have and so forth. I believe that is all real. I find it very hard to believe that this planet is the only planet out of multi-billions, perhaps even trillions of planets or asteroids or moons or whatever across the vast space that we're the only ones that have any type of intelligent life form. Now, these other planets might have life form that don't look like us, or talk like us or walk like us or whatever. But I do believe that there are other creatures living in space, and they have been paying us a visit. I just find it hard to believe that all these people are faking it, and the Pentagon's faking it, and Congress is faking it, and so forth. I believe they are real. To be honest with you, I saw one as a kid back in the 50s, flying over my dad's car here in Lex County. So I do believe in that. Um, and along with that, you have to also believe in the spirit world, because I know what I personally seen and witnessed with my mom, and my dad passing away. I saw how they reacted towards death. Um, and I do believe that there is depending on how a person dies, they're stuck here, uh, or they designed to stay here because of a loved one that they want to watch over. I do believe that there are some spirits who are stuck and just can't go to heaven or go to hell.
Well, right. Sylvia Brown, the noted psychic that I mention all the time, and Michael does too, uh, said that a lot of people tell her, and she's been credited as being a true, you can believe what she says, psychic, that they died suddenly and they are, as you just said, trapped. They don't know what to do. And she has literally had to say to them, look, and you see the light, and you have to go and cross into the light, and it's a good thing. It's not going to hurt you, but where where you have to go. uh, there's a belief that ghosts that haunt you in a house that you buy or just you're living in, they all of a sudden show up there, or they've been there all along. Sometimes they don't want you living in that house, so they
Yeah.
want you out. So they'll do whatever they can. But there's the other belief that they died in the house, and again, they don't know where to go. They're in an in between. They can't talk to us. They can't be with us. So they don't know what to do. And again, telling them, look for the white light and follow through. I don't know. I'm kind of the wrong person to talk to on that because I still haven't come to grips with what happens when you die. Do they put you in a box and put the box in the ground and that's it?
No,
Or,
Dave. Like I said, my personal experience is this. I mentioned it before. Um, when my dad, when he was very close to death once, and then years later he did die. But the first time when he was getting the last, my dad was Lutheran. My mom and dad were Lutheran, and I'm very high Lutheran, very close to being Catholic. So the priest was there to do the last rites and so forth. And as my wife, as myself, also my mom, and a couple of relatives were in the bedroom, and my dad was there in bed, and we thought this was going to be it. But what happened is that he raised up his arm and pointed to the corner of the bedroom ceiling, and he started talking to his mom, who had passed away.
mm-hmm.
And he was talking to some other relatives who had passed away, and he was having this conversation. So then, thankfully, it wasn't his time. They told him to, this is not your time, and he did survive, and he lived for many years afterwards. And then, when my mom was close to death, my cousin, my nephew, Tony, and niece. Oh my God, I forgot her name. Anyways,
okay.
they were at the house, and they called me up on the phone and screaming and panicking, crying and carrying on. And I said, "What the hell's going on?" I said, "You got to get here. We heard Dad's, Grandpa's voice. He's calling out to Maybell, and you got to get here." And, by the time I got there, everything had calmed down. I said, but what the hell happened? He said, Uncle Randy, we heard Grandpa's voice calling out May, saying, May, it's time to go. May, come with me, and so forth and so on. And and we saw, heard his voice clearly calling out to your mom.
Yep. They say that's what happens. We believe that my father hung around a lot longer than he should have, maybe because he was very concerned with how my mother would be taken care of after he passed away. And I'm sure there are others that do the same thing. I would probably be looking down on my wife, but my wife is a very strong person and will be able to take care of herself. If she goes before I do, I'm batshit crazy, so I'll probably buy the tickets for the next train up there, and otherwise, if I go to hell, I'm going to have to be very good down there. And,
that's the
3-day passes.
Yeah, that's the other thing. My
brother. We don't have hell Jews anyways.
Yeah, you don't. That's the other thing that my brother, he went through a 4-valve heart surgery, and while he was under anesthesia, every time the doctor tried bringing him out of anesthesia, he flatlined, and it happened several times on the operating table. So they put him into an induced medical coma, and he was there for I think 3 or 4 months. And every time they'd pull him out of the coma, he flatlined. Yep. So eventually, they were able to bring him out, and he lived. The very first thing he said when he saw me, he said, "Randy, I felt my body," meaning him, I felt my body going down in a tunnel and going down and down and down and down, further down. And he said these hands and arms came out from all the sides, grabbing for his body as he was going down. And I said, Mike, you were experiencing hell. I said, you're on your way to hell, and they're trying to grab you. I said, You need to get your life in order so that does not happen again. Whether or not he did, I don't know. I can only hope and assume that he did. But, I do believe that there is an afterlife, and that we need to, for those of you who believe, get closer to God. Like my brother almost did. Yeah, and you see these. Now there are some fakes. Facebook is full of these people who put these videos on and so forth, and they're fakes. You can tell they're fakes. But there are some people like Michael, his own personal experience, Michael Anthony. He's done a vast amount of research, and he can speak highly to the subject.
He can. He very well can.
So Russia is at war with Ukraine, but Russia is warning Trump to not get involved with Yemen. Trump right now is blowing the hell out of Yemen because the Houthis attacking our ships.
Yep.
I'm thinking to myself, dude, you're losing 2,000 soldiers a day in combat. You're losing all your Navy, your Air Force, your armor. You're not in a very good position to be telling Trump what to do.
Well, no, but if Trump hadn't have gotten involved, this thing would have been over by now. The land where the rare earth minerals were that Trump was trying to get our hands on, as well as help Ukraine maintain itself, is on a piece of land that Russia wants. There's a power plant, evidently, that Zelensky wants to make sure stays under Ukrainian control, and evidently it's there. And I said to someone yesterday when we were talking about it, you know, Vladimir, you got to kind of understand that, this isn't a you won the war. Baltimore, this isn't a plan. This isn't a thing necessarily that you lost the war. It's a whatever we have to do to get you guys to agree on enough to stop the guns and the bombs and the this and the that that's killing everybody, and try to get to the table and get enough agreed upon to stop that. And I don't think that Putin has been doing any of the negotiating lately since this whole thing started. Just kind of like you don't know who was using Biden's auto pen. I think it was just people negotiating for what they thought Putin would want, and then going to him and telling him, and the whole thing just has to end, really, realistically. And it can't be with guns and bombs and whatever. Uh, it can't be with countries around the world lining up with the two in the war, Ukraine and Russia, and then lining up with the U.S. to put an end to it, because nobody needs to go over there and drop enough bombs and turn Ukraine and that part of Russia into a parking lot. As far as Putin being upset with Yemen being turned into a parking lot, I'm sure President Trump said to his friend President Putin, "You fully understand that Yemen has been receiving money from the bad people to accomplish our agenda for us, and they're going to," meaning the bad people's agenda, "and they're going to continue doing that as long as the money is there." And I don't know why Barack Obama, who was president for 8 years before Donald Trump, couldn't get that communicated to Yemen. I don't know why George Bush, who was the Republican president, couldn't get that communicated to Yemen. I don't know why Bill Clinton, who couldn't get that communicated before. Hillary Clinton, when she was Secretary of State, was just out for whatever she could put in her pocket. I don't think that's one person that Putin wants involved in any peacemaking deals. Well, maybe because he probably does, because she sold our piece of uranium-1. So if she was Secretary of State, she probably would have sold that piece of land that has the power plant and the mines on it. I just don't understand. It seems to be right now the thing is two nations go to war and they bring in everybody else, and it becomes a bigger war, and then it's going to be a Big Bang Theory and we're all going to die. And I just don't want to hear that anymore. It may be true, but as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't need to be, and I don't know. My idea of everybody sits around a table and they negotiate on and agree on the things that they can agree on right away, and then they sit there and they try to work out the things that they don't agree on as this thing goes along. Maybe that's not a realistic idea either, but I don't know what the answer is.
I was just going to say something. Oh, golly, gee willikers. I just love the way our minds work sometimes.
Well, sometimes it's okay to tell me to shut up.
No, well, yeah,
because
I could do that, true, but yeah, here it is. My daughter got us last year to watch a series that she saw read a book on, and the series is on Paramount Plus. something. Anyways, it's the series is called From. Have you ever seen the series?
I have not.
Okay, so if you haven't, you really need. Well, okay, do you get scared with scary stuff?
Sometimes it depends on what it is.
Okay, so the series is called From, and it's about a town that is has these. I wouldn't call them zombies, but they're very close to it. And what happens is people, and it's been going on since the Civil War. People go into this town by accident because they're driving down this country road. They're in the woods, and there's a tree that is blocking their way. So they so they reroute their way, and they wind up inside this town, and they can't leave the town. They are stuck there, and these creatures come out only at nighttime. And if you're out after dark and they see you, they'll kill you. Uh, but it's done in such a way that it has all these people from different parts of the world. They get stuck there. Some of them survive, some of them die, and they're trying to find a way to get out of this town. But you have to watch it, and we did, and we got glued. We're actually they dumped 2 seasons of it, so we're watching 2 episodes a night of this series, so we get caught up. But it is really good. It's well done. There's good acting. So if you like scary shit, this will certainly work for you. You're muted. Okay.
So I was muted. I was muted because my wife was on the phone, and I needed to mute myself, so I did. Uh, yeah, maybe we will take a look at it. We're kind of old creatures to habit and watch a lot of stuff that we have watched in the past, and
Yeah.
loyal to some shows.
And that it's people like you and me who become loyal to a show or a series, and every time the writers go on frickin' strike, okay, you know damn well something's going to be thrown to the wind because we got to pay the writers more money, and usually it's in the form of a cancellation of a show. They canceled almost every one of the shows that my family watches because they claimed there wasn't enough money. I'm sorry. Ask the actors, will you take a cut of your pay to maintain your job? Well, sure we will. As long as we keep working, we'll take a cut in our pay. Or how about maybe the producers? How about them take a cut in pay?
Yep. They say Tom Selleck offered to take cuts on Blue Bloods every time it came time to renegotiate the contracts of everybody. He was willing to take a pay cut so that everybody could at least stay doing what they were doing. And
I don't understand.
Well, sometimes it's not about money. They're just gonna close it down because they're gonna close it down. Maybe they think they have something better. I don't know.
Yeah.
I always thought it would be great to own a network that every time a network just canceled a program for whatever reason, they canceled it, bring it over to my network and watch it hit number one, and then be able to laugh at the other network. You just had to put some time into it or do something and make some changes, and I don't know.
There used to be back in the day, there was people could volunteer to be to have a box attached to their TV, and then the Nielsen ratings. I have never in my life ever been asked on a phone or whatever, what shows does your family watch?
I think it's fixed like everything else, to be honest with you.
No, I agree. I think it's fixed. That they're going to ask the questions of the people who are in a certain age group, a certain money group, and that way they get the
Political
answers that they
part.
want. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. I think I'm sure it is. But now it's a little bit more difficult because people are going off of cable in the sense of watching traditional analog TV on cable. They're live streaming and they're picking out what they want to watch and watching what they you know watching what they want to watch when they want to watch. Uh, and I just wish that networks like Peacock, if NBC is going to run it on Wednesday night and Comcast owns NBC, why can't they just put it on Peacock at the same time and allow
Hmm.
the people who have Peacock to see it? We don't have the local TV stations, so maybe you're losing a few bucks here and there, but you're probably making it up by the vast number of people who, like I said, live stream uh, as opposed to are home at 9 o'clock to midnight on a
Yeah.
Wednesday night
I mean,
to
we
watch.
we we used to pay, God, close to $80 for live TV. That's a couple hundred channels and so forth. And then
Mhm.
what started to happen was that the shows that we watched were removed from the main, Hulu. It was taken off of Hulu and was put into like Paramount Plus. So
Yep.
if you want to continue watching that series, you have to pay the $12 for
Yeah.
Paramount Plus, or you have to pay for Peacock, or you have to pay for
Yeah.
something else. And so we got rid of paying for live TV, and now we just watch live streaming. So
Yeah.
we have maybe $30 total between Paramount Plus, Peacock, and another streaming, so we can watch just the shows that we want to
Yeah.
watch.
And in our house, it works out pretty well because we have. I think we pay for Hulu and we pay for Netflix, and they pay for two or three of the others that we have. And I think that it seems to work for everybody. If there's a sporting event that they want, or what do you call it? I can't think of the word I want, but if there's a sporting event that they want, they call up and they pay for that, or they have a plan that allows them to pick out so many that they want to see. I don't know, but uh, I I just think like I said, Comcast has to look at the bigger picture. Where if you got a billion people paying to watch NBC on Wednesday night, and then all of a sudden half a billion of them say no, we'll get it on Peacock because we can save it and we can watch it whenever we want, which you can do on NBC, with a DVR anyway. But if everybody, money, as long as it's coming in, is the name of the game. And if the money coming in is still fairly close to the money that you want to make, then that's what it should be live
Okay,
everywhere.
I got one last bit of conversation, then I got
Okay.
take off. Have
Okay.
you been keeping up with the changes that Trump is making to the White House? Physically, the physical
Honestly,
changes.
honestly, honestly, no, because I'm so far behind in in watching everything
Okay.
like that. That
Let me
yeah.
share this then with you. This is part of it, but he's made a bunch of other
Okay.
changes. So hold on a second. Let me get this queued up
Okay.
here for you.
All right. Hold on. Let me get this queued up.
Okay.
The Declaration of Independence. Wow. And they ask that this be done. It's never been up. It's been in the vaults for many, many decades. and they said, we have to do something like drapes or something because the light eventually affects it. And it's very cool. Oh my gosh. Isn't that great? Just went up yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow. Think Joe Biden would do this? I don't think so. Do you think he'd think of it? Do you think he knows what it is?
So that's one thing he did.
Well,
But
yep.
he has been
Yep.
doing renovations inside the Oval Office and so forth, bringing in a bunch of gold stuff. Now, it's probably not real gold. Maybe some of it is, but I saw images of it. All this statuettes and pieces of furniture. I mean, you have to remember, all his hotels, his personal residence and hotels are all done in gold, okay? And so he is doing the Oval Office. He is bringing all this stuff that, I'm not sure if it's real gold or not real gold, but he's bringing some class to the White House. And I said this before, I think our White House up until now is pretty lame as far as, a spectacular piece of work. You go to like England, they have or even the Catholics, they have all this gold, all this tapestry, all this wonderful stuff that puts you in awe. And then you go to our Oval Office, and this is just an office. So he's bringing all this gold into it, and he's going to put cement over the rose garden. He's getting rid of the rose garden.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know the history of the rose garden to know whether or not.
The rose garden was planted by a president's wife. Many presidents ago. I'm not sure which one, but she did the rose garden.
Okay.
I'm not sure where they're going to put it in its place, but apparently the work started the other day where he's starting to lay cement, or he's going to go prepare to lay cement over where the rose garden is.
It's where he's going to park the new red Tesla that he No, seriously, the conversation that came out was, I guess he was asked if he would buy one, and he said yes. And evidently the red four-door Tesla that you see him and Elon Musk driving around the White House is the one that he bought. So maybe he's, I could never be president of the United States for that reason anyway, because if I wanted the ice cream flavor that Joe Biden didn't have, or I in the freezer, or didn't leave it for me, I'd just take the keys to the beast and I'd go run down and go buy it.
So the rose garden.
I'm supposed to do that, but go ahead.
The rose garden was established in 1913 by Ellen Wilson, the wife of President Woodrow Wilson. Later redesigned by President John F. Kennedy. So the president is discussing ripping up the grass on the rose garden, putting it on a hard surface that would serve as a patio. Like when he's a patio deck. Come on, really? I might be a little bit angry about this part if he's going to be doing that. That's kind of stupid. But so that's what he's looking to do. I want to really quick see if I can see if I can find images of all the gold Trump adds. Gold to the White House. And then I gotta get going. I gotta get.
That's still a big question. What do you think?
Here we go.
He and Elon Musk are going to find when they open up Fort Knox and do their tour.
Okay, hold on a second. See if I get some video here. There's some gold. Oh, come on, where is it? Yeah, okay. This is going to be like a series. Let's get this over here. Oh, come on. Did I lose it? I lost it. Oh. Wait. Here it is.
How long?
There we go.
Okay.
you know what? Screw it. It's going to take too long to
Okay.
cue it back up. But anyways, he's added a bunch of statuettes, vases, some furniture, all gilded with gold.
Okay.
And he's put his own touch on it, and I like that. It brings
Yep.
some snazz to the White House. Because you know, once she's out of office, all they're going to change back anyway, which is pretty sad. I still think he deserves another term. But anyways, with that, guys, I gotta go. I got some work to do here. So you have fun. That's nice. Thanks for having me.
Yep. It was good. I'm glad
Yep,
you
take
came.
care.
Friday morning we'll do Red Friday Morning Caffeine, wrap up the week.
Yep.
And I'm glad you came. Yeah. All right. Randy Rhodes, All Roads Lead You Home Genealogy Services. Go to his Facebook profile, which is Randall Rhodes. I just like calling him Randy. It may not be as professional, but I like calling him Randy because I know him as Randy. And Randall just sounds like a doctor waiting to hit me over the head for not doing something. And that brings me into one of the news things. I was going to mention that here in Florida, I guess a case was dismissed because a mother, I believe, went to court. I didn't read the whole thing, but I'm assuming that it was either the child of the mother was not getting called the appropriate pronouns they wanted, or her child was not referring to another child with the appropriate pronouns that they wanted. Hey, get over it. Freedom of speech. I don't have to use the way you describe or talk about yourself when I talk about you. Okay, I don't have to accept that you have done something to yourself. I mean, I have to accept that you did something to yourself, but I don't have to accept your terms on how I talk about you. The majority seems to agree that there are two genders, biological males, biological females. You want to go off on transgenders as the third one, cisgenders as another one, this gender, that gender. That's up to you. But as far as I'm concerned, there are two genders. I do acknowledge that one gender does transgender to become the other gender. But how you identify yourself once you do that, I believe, is up to you. If other people agree with you and think that that's how you should be addressed, then that's how they will address you. If other people don't, stay away from them, and live your life. But I am going to throw this out as today's final thought. Bruce Jenner claims he knew at 8 years old that one of these days he was going to have to make the change, meaning transgender himself into herself. And at 65 years old, when he was no longer making gazillions of dollars a year because he had made double gazillion dollars a year as a successful triathlon athlete and everything else that he did, he decided to make the change. 57 years later, I say hypocrite, because if the idea is to do it when you have the money, you had the money, Bruce, a long time ago. You just said that you didn't want to do it, didn't want to bring it up because you didn't want to upset your father, who I believe was your manager or somehow involved with you in making a whole lot of money, and you just didn't want to break your father's heart that you weren't what you appeared to be. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. You have to be yourself, and you have to stick up for yourself, and you have to do it whether everybody else tells you something is wrong. If you want to do it, you go ahead and do it. Craig says he is still Bruce to me. Because I said this the other night on Boogie with the Bull Unsaid, that for some strange reason, not all of the comments make it from the Facebook live chat to the Restream producer screen so that I can highlight one and share it with everybody. I guess what that means is I have to move my head and look at it and read it. Jerry, I know, will cut one or copy one and bring it over. That's just more than I want to do. But Craig says that he is still Bruce to me. As far as I'm concerned, he's Caitlin, or she's Caitlin. But and I'll, if I see her, I'll call her Caitlin maybe. But I mean, I'm not going to embarrass him and refer to him as Bruce the whole time I'm out with a bunch of other people, because that just embarrasses myself. But my point was that if you don't want to refer to him as a transgendered female, which is how he decides or she decides to identify now, then don't. And if it's going to be a problem, then stay away from her. You're not getting invited over there anyway. So just live your life and let them live their lives. It's different than saying it's okay for all these illegal immigrants to come into this country and take it over and decide that, you as an American aren't going to get anything because we need everything. I read the other day that California Governor Gavin Newsom needs more money to take care of these people. Well, no. And President Trump, I think, is on the road to all these groups of people asking for money, all these states asking for money. They're not going to get them. I read again this morning that Maine it's all tied up to go to court, I guess, to make it official that Maine is not going to get money for transgendered athletes. And it's just, there's just too many conflicts. Anyway, hey, we've been on for an hour and 2 minutes, and we've covered just about everything we wanted to cover this morning. I want to thank Craig Peterson for watching. Elise Figurel. I hope I said it right. Figurel. I hope I said it right. As I just said, again, is watching, and I hope I said it right. I will keep saying that. If I ever butcher your name really bad, make sure you message me and put it into phonetics for me so that I can tape it on the wall in front of me and make sure I say it right, or practice it a bunch of times and make sure I say it right. Let's see who else was watching. Larry Estes was watching. I didn't want to do that. Larry Estes was watching, and I think that covers all of it. I hope you people are watching, if you can. Tuesday and Thursday night, we do Boogie with the Bull Uncensored, and sometimes we talk about a lot of politics. Sometimes we don't talk about any politics. Last night, I don't remember that we did. I think we talked about the ivermectin horse paste for most of the broadcast, because Jerry was jumping around and trying to do everything he had to do to join us last night, and came to us with a blue tongue. So make sure you go and watch that one. And we joked about it for a while, but we also talked serious about it to try to let people know this is something that could happen. It's a natural thing, but it could happen. And I forget what else we did, but you can go and watch it. It's on my profile, or it's on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. And you can always go and watch it. But everybody who catches the 10 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, always welcome to join us on the 7 p.m. I also highly recommend that you watch The American Rebellion here on the American Rebellion blogger page. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. And on most nights, you'll see me over there with Jerry Michaels, the host, Nikki Young, sometimes Robert Lawless, or we talk about Robert Lawless. A lot of times Jen Woodruff is there with us. Let's see, Monday night, Brendan Statler was with us, and 20 years old, and smart kid. You know, at 20 years old, you're not a kid anymore. But I'm 63, so everybody that's 20 years old is just a kid, but a smart kid. And I don't remember where he said his broadcasts are, but come and watch, share, and I will give one polite request to everybody who shares Boogie with the Bull broadcast. I don't care if it's the 10 o'clock in the morning or the 7 o'clock at night. If the F-bombs get dropped or language gets colored on a broadcast, watch carefully the groups that you share that particular episode to, because a lot of groups don't want that in the broadcasts that are posted, or even the posts that are posted in their groups. And there's nothing wrong. So watch it on your post, and watch it if you share a Boogie with the Bull broadcast. If any one of us goes over crazy on the F-bombs, just don't pass that one to that particular group. I don't want you to get kicked out of a group because you bother the group owner or the admins and moderators for posting things in there that they don't want. So that's like I said, if we get a little loose Tuesday, Thursday night, please. If someone asks you not to send it to their group, please respect that and don't send it to their group. Anyway, this is the time of the broadcast where I tell you you've been watching Boogie with the Bull, Wednesday Morning Caffeine, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. And now I'm gonna give you your double B's for victory that this Boogie with the Bull broadcast is gonna come and hit that one. Do it one more